Okay, good morning. So last session we learned about how do we work with links and some examples and exercises I showed you. We learned about how to set background images transparent and all, and how do we keep content aligned to center, right? All these examples you tried, right? Next, after understanding this, we need to know about working with the tables. We need to know working with tables. How do we work with the tables? We need to learn about tables in HTML. So how we can design and work with the tables. So last session was all about working with the links, working with links. Generally, tables are simple. Earlier, tables are very complex because before HTML5, entire website is designed with tables. But HTML5 introduced the new divs and spans. I told you that situation. And from HTML5 onwards, we are using the divs and spans. Tables usually are used to arrange content into rows and columns. Whenever you want to present the data and arrange the data into rows and columns, then you can use tables. So presentation of data is always done with the help of tables. And tables are used everywhere. For example, you are doing some shopping. Into the shopping, you added some shopping. Into shopping cart, you added some items. And finally, you are watching your shopping cart. In that shopping cart, it will show what items, how much quantity, so what rate, total amount, a tabular form. Employees information in a tabular form, grids in a tabular form. So arranging information into rows and columns can be easily done by using tables. For that, lot of tags are available. For a table, we have table tags. Table tags, we have table. So we have a T head, we have a T body, T foot, we have a TR, TH, TD, and a call group. These are and caption. These are used for table. For designing table, we have these tags. Table, table header, table body, table footer, table row, heading, data. TH is table heading and table data, TD. I will show you what these are. So we will see what they are. Actually, when you are presenting some information, so let's see. When you are trying to present some information in this way, see. So we have this data. Yeah, I'm organizing the information. So this is a table. Usually for table, a caption will display here. Caption will display here. That means when you set a caption for table, the table is going to have this caption. Caption is used by search engines. Caption is used by your programming to identify the table inside the page. So we have a caption for table. After that, so actually this is present inside table only, inside table tag, table starts here, and this is table end. Table ends here. Inside the table, we actually define table caption. Inside the table, we create the table captions. Here we design table caption. We define table caption. Later you can change its position above, below. So initially table caption will come there. After that, table is divided into three sections. Table is divided into three sections. We have a header section, and we will have a footer body section, and we will have a footer section. Table is divided into three sections. And remember, that is just based on requirement. Sometimes we will use tables without these divisions according to table. Some divisions, sometimes table and its data needs organization, like header, body, footer. Sometimes we don't use tables for data only. We will use table for presenting general content. In that case, we don't need these groups, head, body, footer. Such groups are not required. So depending on requirement, it doesn't mean that mandatorily every table will have groups. So you can have groups if data is relative to that. Otherwise, you can ignore them. I will show you all techniques we will learn. This top section is defined by using T head. T head starts here and T head ends here. After the table section, we will have a T body, that is table body. Table body starts here and table body ends here. And after that, you will have a footer section, T footer. That is the footer section. Table footer starts and ends. So a table contains three sections, head, body, and footer. And inside these sections, we cannot keep any content directly. So you cannot keep any content directly. In order to keep any content, every section needs a row. Every section needs a row, table row, TR is for table row. Every section needs a row. Now you see the row ends at the end. That means this is one row. And important, it can have any number of rows. It can have any number of rows. That means sometimes headings have two rows headings will be there, 3 rows headings also can be there. It depends. Now, inside table header or inside table body or inside table footer, if you want to show anything, first you have to organize table rows into it. How many rows you want, you need to organize them. That means in every section, data is kept in a row. In every section, it is kept in a row. In a row, how the information is organized? In a row, information is organized in cells. In cells, we organize the information. That means in every row, it contains cells actually. In every row, it contains cells. In every row, it comprises of cells. How many cells you want in a row? You have to define that. This is cells. And every cell can be defined in two ways. Every cell inside the row can be defined as TD or TH. TD is ordinary text and TH is heading text. That means you know already heading text will have a separate appearance. They will have bold, they will have a separate appearance. That means you can keep anywhere. So it doesn't mean that heading text should be at the top only. Heading text can be in between, bottom, anywhere you can keep heading text. So to display cells, we have two options. Cells can be displayed, cell content can be displayed in two ways, by using TD or by using TH. If you use TD, cell will appear normal. If you use TH, the cell content will appear as heading. That's only the difference. That means in every row, so you can use, so how many cells you want, you need to define them. This is one cell. So this is another cell. So this is another cell, like this. Every cell starts and ends. Inside that cell, you can keep some data. Inside this, you can keep some data there. Whatever data you want, you have to keep inside the cell. So that means data inside the cell is kept here. So the hierarchy is very lengthy. So we have a table. Inside the table, we have table header or body or footer. In that, we will have a row. In that row, we will have cells. So there we organize the data and keep the data. Table have a lot of attributes. Attributes we will learn later. First, we are learning about basic table tags. So everything looks fine, but where is this column group? So table is there, start and end of table. This is start and end of table. Head, this is head section. So this is body section. This is footer section. And this is row. And this is heading cell. This is heading cell. This is normal cell. And caption, table caption. So this is groups the columns to define a style. That is not there. We haven't written this. We will see that. Groups the columns to define a style. That is actually call group. Call group is used for grouping the columns to define a particular style, to configure a style. So define and configure a style. Now, once this is done, see, actually call group is nothing but, see here, when here currently you see in the top, we have created 4 columns. In the top, we have 4 columns actually. That means this is one column. So that is one column. This is second column. This is third column. And this is fourth. 4 columns are there. Means how many cells you define in a row, those number of columns are created. Now what you can do is you can group the columns. That means sometimes our table have headings in the left column, not at the top. So when we have headings in the left column, then what we do is we group the columns, 2 columns, 1 group, or 1 column as a group and other columns another group. What is advantage of this is, for this column, so for this column, you can apply a different style. For that column, you can apply a different style and display. For this column, you can apply a different style and apply. Currently, how many columns grouped? Only 1 column is grouped. You can group 2 columns also. You can group 3 columns like that. I will show you. For that, actually, we need to apply some style. We will see that. Let's design this and see. But initially, designing these will not give you much effect because they need some attributes. We will learn about those attributes. First, we will design that. Let's create into our project location. Let's add a table here. So I'm adding a new file in the public and I will give table HTML. Now in this, yeah, so in this I'm defining a simple document structure. Doc type HTML, head, title, and I say simple table. Okay. Initially just the body section, in that I'm creating a table. We are adding a table here. Now in this we have three sections: T head and T body and T foot, table footer. These are the three sections. Now inside the table we are having a caption also. Caption for table, that is like some products table, or say products catalog, something like this. Now you can see here in the head section. In the head section, we can put TR, means row. In every section, you have to first have a row. Now in this row, we need cells. You want like heading or you want like normal cell. For example, I will put normal cell. I will say name and another cell price. So another cell, some preview, something like this. So remember, these cells are just like containers, divs and spans. That means you can keep anything inside them. You can keep anything inside them. You can keep a link, you can keep an image, you can keep a paragraph, you can keep a heading, anything inside them. You can keep anything inside them. Okay. Initially, we have three cells inside the row. Now I will just run this and show you. Basic, it doesn't have any much appearance. So what we will do is we will add width for that cell. Width and border we will add. Later we will discuss about all borders and options. Initially, let's see. Table have a lot of categorizations, lot of options you have to learn. Then only you can present in a proper format. One by one, we will learn all those options. So this is table. Okay, this is table. It doesn't look like a table. So already I told you that it is table, but we need some attributes. Attributes we will discuss separately. First, temporarily, I'm using two attributes for you. One is width, which is very common. You know, width I will give some 400 pixels, and I will give a border temporarily. Later, others we will discuss. So initially, by giving this, the table looks like this. Now you can observe here. So this is an top row. Ordinary appearance is there. But I want these to appear like headings. Then you choose between TD or TH. You choose between TD or TH. Suppose one I am giving TH. Now see the difference here. Others are TD only. TH will be bold, center aligned. That depends on your requirement. It's not mandatory that everyone should be in heading style. If you are having a heading, then better use TH. That is for headings. So TH for headings. It's not mandatory that everyone should display like a heading only. So I'm defining the TH and this is the headers. Now you can adjust. Suppose I said 500 is the width of table. Then you see this is table. And caption goes above and it looks like outside the table. But actually caption is inside the table. It is linked to the table. So, and see, now in the table body, we need to add the data. That means we are adding TR is first row. In this row, how many cells you should have? According to headings, we need 3 cells. One cell is for name. So suppose I said some JBL, some speaker. Another cell is for price and some price. Another is for preview where we need to put a photo. We can add a photo here, image. Cell can contain anything inside it. A table cell can contain anything inside it. Now image. So SRC is from assets, some speaker.jpg, width 100 and height 100. This is first row. And you can see the table have one row. The table is defined with a row, Now you want to add more. That means now I will add one more row in the table row. In the table body, I am adding one more row, same. In this row, I am changing this and defining some, say, earpods and some price here. And I defined some earpods, something like this. And you can see there is another row. We can add number of rows and handle number of rows. So this is the header section and the body. Now let's go to the footer section. In the footer section, again, we can add a row. In that, we can keep a cell. As of now, how many number of columns you are having in previous rows? If you don't maintain those number of cells, then it looks uneven. In the later stage, you are going to learn how to merge the cells, how we can merge the cells and convert all cells into one cell. As of now, suppose I am writing here TD and I will leave it empty. Another TD. I said here ampersand copy semicolon some copyright 2021 and another TD empty. And you can see that 2 cells I left empty. And when you left 2 cells empty, it will be in this way. Later, we are going to learn how to merge them and make them as single cell. That's what we are going to learn as attributes. So initially, we have the header section, body section, and the footer section, and we are having this caption. Now, where is the column group? So you can write the column group inside the table only. So after the caption, I am writing call group. Call group is for column group. Now this doesn't have any appearance as of now. You can see nothing special. But first for column group, we have to tell how many columns to group. I want one column to group. Then we have to use span 1. Still appearance is not there. Why? Because you don't have proper suitable effects. The appearance will come only when you give suitable attributes, suitable effects. As of now, no difference because you need a style for this. We need a style. I will put a style as background color, some yellow for that. And you can see that, that column have separate color. If you don't apply the style or attributes are not correctly defined, then you can't see it. That means everything that you designed will not appear until or unless the situation and the suitable options are configured. Many times, so several dependency options are present. If you return an option and missing the dependency, that option will not work. So you have to make sure that those dependencies are also correctly configured. There is another way of displaying this group. I will show you. As of now, I will change this span to 2 now. I change the span to 2. Then column group will be for 2 columns. For 2 columns. I am changing the span to 1. It will be for 1 column. You can add any type of effects, background color, foreground color, borders, any type of effects you can configure for that. Initially, this is actually column group. But I am not giving any style for this column group. I am just giving column group span as 1. Okay. You will see when situation comes how that column group will appear without style also you will see now. We will understand that. Initially, these are the options in the table. So we have table, table header, table body, table footer, and in all the sections we have rows. In every row we have headings and cells, and to group the columns we have column group, and to make it SEO friendly we have caption. Now the attributes for table will make the table perfect. Attributes for the table. What are attributes? Let's see. So table attributes, these are going to attributes. These are going to make the table in a perfect way. In table attributes, table have lot of attributes. So first we will see how we can define borders and all. First, in table attributes, we are going to see the options like we have frame, rules, and border. Frame, rules, and border. In table attributes, first we have to know the frame, rules, and border for table. So see here. So now when you are designing table, I will remove this border for table. I will keep the width. I am removing the border. Now it looks like this. This is table. I will give some more width, some 600. Now it looks like this. We have a table now arranged in rows and columns, but it doesn't have a proper look. First thing is table can have a frame. So frame, so it is defined for entire table. It is defined for entire table, and it can have frame can have box options, values. It can have values. Frame can have values like box, like RHS, LHS, above, below, and void. These are the values. So frame is defined for entire table. Table is having a frame. Table is having a frame. And generally frame values can be box, RHS, like this. That means for table, you can put a frame which can be like box, or which can be like RHS, which can be like LHS, which can be like above or below or void. These are the values for frame. How we can define the frame? Frame can be defined for tables. So that is the option here. Let's see here what is frame, how we can configure that. So see now, I am going to the table. This is empty table. Now I am giving here for table, I am giving frame. Frame is equal to, you can have box. If I say frame box, you can see that frame is for entire table. Frame is for entire table. You can see that is the frame for table. Frame is for entire table. It puts a box for entire table. Now you can have this frame instead of box, RHS, right hand side frame. Right hand side frame will be like this, right hand side. You can see a line right hand side, vertical line right hand side. That is the right hand side frame. So that means this is This is the right hand side frame. This is right hand side frame. This is right hand side frame. Yeah, this is right hand side frame. That is the right hand side frame. We generally need such frames when you are splitting two tables and keeping them side by side. One will have right side, one will have left side. We can keep the frame right hand side. We can keep the frame LHS. LHS will keep the left hand side. Left hand side. We can keep as above. We can keep as above. And you can see it is above. Or you can keep it below. You can keep it below. Remember, you cannot keep both. You cannot keep above, below, both. You cannot keep left, right, both. For that, you have to go with CSS. Here, frame can be applied with only one value. It can be LHS, RHS, above or below. Others, with CSS only you have to achieve. So with HTML, you have this option available. And if I want to remove the frame, then we have to use void. Void is to turn off the frame. Why? Because many times in future, we have to turn on and off the frames. That means frame will be there, but it should be turned off. It should not return the frame. Then void indicates no return. No return. That means it will not return a frame. It's normal. You may be thinking like, if you don't write frame, there will be no frame. Why to write frame and keep it void? That we have to do because later we need to turn on and off the frames. So frame must be there, which should be switched dynamically depending on situation. In that case, we need to use this void option. Void. If I say box, it will be box. It will be box. So these are frames actually. So frame is for entire table. Frame is for entire table. Next, you have rules. You have rules. Rules defined for rows is rules defined for rows, columns, and groups. Rules defined for rows, columns, and groups. Columns and groups. So what are the values it is having? So the values same. We have rows, we have calls, and we have groups, and we have none. That means now table can be defined. Table can be defined with the rules is equal to rows, can be for calls, it can be for groups, and it can be none. That's how we define. So table can have a frame or table can have rules. Let's see how the rules are configured and how the rules are defined. Rules are configured and defined. So now table is just having a frame. Table is just having a frame, and you see frame is box. Now what I'm doing here, I'm giving rules. Rules is equal to, I'm giving all. So one more attribute is there. I missed it. All. That means it can have all. That means it can have rows, columns. All rules will come. Rules can be all also. So that means now you see here, I am defining rules as all. And I will say all means it will come in rows, columns, and all. These are rules. These are rules. These are rules. These are not border. This is not border. This is only rule. Let's remove the frame now. To remove the frame, we have to use frame as what? Void. And you can see only rules will come like this. That means we have only rules. And all rules, rows, columns, rules are present. Now I will do one thing. I will keep rules only for rows. then only rows will have rules. Only rows is having rules. Columns are not having rules. If I say calls, then only columns will have rules. Only columns will have rules. Rows will not have rules. If I say all, then it will have both. It will have both. If I say none, that means it will not have any rules. If I say groups, that's important. Now your column group will appear. Now your column group will appear. That means in the table, how many groups are present? In the table that we designed, it contains 4 groups actually. What are those 4 groups? Header, body, footer, and a column group is also present. Now you can see that groups will give you the appearance for column group correctly. This is where the column group will appear. Column group will appear. Even if you don't define the style, column group will appear. Now if I change, so here column group span 2, then it will be for 2 columns. It will be for 2 columns. It will be displaying for 2 columns. So that depends on column group, how you are defining the column group. That you cannot see until or unless you give the rules as groups, or until or unless you give some styles for the column group. So if you say all, then it will display all. It will display all. And if I want the frame also, then frame we can keep it as box. Now it will look like this. And if you turn off the rules, that means you say none, then only box frame will be there. So that is the combination of rules and frames. You can also have border. Border is defined for cells. Border is defined for cells. So it have values. 2 values will be there. 0, that is no border, and 1, so border. That means actually 0 is representing false, and 1 is representing true. So 1 is representing true. It is not border size. That means we have to say table, and for table border is equal to, you can give either 0 or either 1. Only this. You cannot give 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not border thickness. That means 0 indicates you want border or no border. 0 indicates no border, and 1 indicates have border. That is true or false. So do you want border or not? And border is for cells, and very important. So this is important. Border cannot display if table is configured with rules attribute. Border cannot display if table is configured with rules attribute. Remember how to remove rules attribute. So you cannot say that I will say rules equal to none. Rules equal to none is not removing the rules. You are keeping the rules and hiding it. That means border cannot display if table have rules attribute. That means you have to remove rules attribute from table to define border, not setting to none. You have to remove the rules attribute at all. Complete attribute must be removed to apply the border. So border cannot display if table is configured with rules. And border is for cells. You can see how this will appear now. I will give here as border as 1, and save this, and you see not coming. border is not coming. Why? Because rules is none, but still border is not coming. That's what we discussed. Rules should not be there. That means you should remove these rules, then you can see that now border will come. If rules is there, even you set it to none, it will not display. You have to remove the rules attribute at all. And very important, now you can observe this border very clearly if you can remove the frame, because it may look like rules only. Rules with more thickness, it may look like that. But you see now, I am removing the frame. Removing the frame means we have to set frame as what? Void. If I remove the frame, now you can see that the border is for cells only. You can see the border is for cells. The border is for cells. So border is not for table. That's what many people will misguide you. That means many people will tell you 100% everywhere in any website, they will tell you table border. Table border. Border is not for table. Border is only for cells. Border is for cells, not for table. So that means this is for cell. Every cell is having a border. Every cell will have a border. So now important that you can observe clearly when you have removed the frame. Now when you add the frame here, frame is as a box. Now you can see it will display normal. And I removed here, I removed border. That means border you have to set it to 0. That means we removed the border. Suppose I am giving border as 1. That means it will apply border. I am giving 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or say some 8 I given. You see there is no difference. Only one border will come. But remember, some thickness came. That is not border thickness. That is frame. Outside frame, that's not border. That means you give the border thickness, it will affect for frame. If you remove the frame, you will not see that. Understood? If you remove the frame, you will not see it. So border is not for table, and border, whatever sizes you define will not apply for border. It will affect for frames. So table border size you cannot change like this. Border size you have to change it by using styles. So border have only one option. Other options are useless. So they have only one option, either 0 or 1. So that means you give 1, then table border will be there. If you give 0, then table border will be removed. Table border will be removed. And you give some 4 or 6 or 7, doesn't matter. It will look like 1 only. So you can see that appearance in a different way when you put a frame. Frame as what? Box. So you see the thickness, but that is not border thickness. That is frame thickness. Frame thickness. And I defined this 0. So 0. Now it will remove it. So it is going to remove. And when I am using a border and frame, and I am using rules also, then which one will dominate? Rules. Always rules will dominate. Border will not dominate. Only rules will dominate. That means if I define rules as all, then you can see borders removed. Borders removed. That means if you give border and rules both, borders and rules both, then it will apply only rules. That means the priority is given for rules. So if you configure both rules and border for table, then it will display only rules. Then it will display only rules. Then it will display only rules. Borders are not having the priority. So this is table and borders. So for table, you have 3 options to display like table. You can have a frame, you can have rules, or you can have border. Table frame, table rules, or table border. Right. Next important, that is the first category you have seen, right? Next option is cell spacing and cell padding. Cell spacing and cell padding. Cell spacing and cell padding for table. So we have two options here. Cell spacing, it sets space between cells in table. And we have cell padding. So you know padding, what it will do? It says space around, right? It sets a space around table cell content. It sets a space around table cell content. Around table cell content, if you want, you can define padding. Cell spacing and cell padding that you have to configure. And we have to do that table. Cell spacing is equal to how many units you want. Cell padding, so equal to how many units, pixels you have to define. Just a number. Cell spacing and cell padding. That's general. So when we are designing table, so for table we can have cell spacing and cell padding. So to get the correct appearance, let's put the frame as none. We will keep frame as void and border as 1, and we will remove the rules. So you can see now the cells are clear. Now we want some space between cells, space between every cell. We want cell space. Then we have to add cell spacing. Cell spacing I given as some 20. Then you can see the space between cells will increase. That is cell spacing. So space between cells will increase. I want some space between the content inside the cell and the cell border. That you know what you have to do. Cell padding. Cell padding is some 10 pixels. Then you see some space between the content also. Content is not exactly on the border, some space for that you have to define by using padding. So that is the space. No need to explain padding for you. You already know it, right? Next important, this is cell spacing and padding. Next, we have BG background color and image. Background color and image. We have BG color. So it sets background color for table or group or row or cell. So BG color. And background it sets background image for table, so for group or for row or for cell. At any level we can apply. That means table have BG color is equal to red. It will apply for entire table. If I say T head BG color is equal to red, it will apply only for header. So TR, so BG color, so red, it will apply for row. Only for cell you want to apply, then we have to use TD BG color is equal to red. Roughly I'm giving here, so you can use for TH BG color is equal to red. That means you can apply background color or background image at any level. at any level. If you are trying to apply image, then you have to define table background is equal to your image path. Your image path you have to define. You can again give it for table or T head or T body or T H. It can be applicable for any level. Table can have background color or table can have background image. You can apply for entire table or we can apply for any specific. Any specific. Any specific. So let's see. At any level we can apply that. Suppose in the table I am applying here. So BG color is equal to some yellow. And you see the background color is set for entire table. Entire table is having background color. It is having entire table. Now I am removing this from here and I am applying for T head. T head. It will apply for table header. I am removing from T head. T head. You can keep it. You can put different for different options. Now I am applying for second row in table body and it will apply for second row in table body. It will apply for second row in table body. I am removing from here. I will apply for second cell in second row. It will apply only for the second cell in second row. You can apply at any levels. So either for a table or for a headers, body sections, or you can keep even for cells individually. Similarly, you can keep a table background image. Table can have a background image. That also can be at any level. So we can put simply like a background. And it is in assets. In assets, so some shoe.jpg. And you can see it will apply that background. Again, dominancy issues and all these comes that you have to handle like previous I showed you. With CSS only we can do that. So here you can't do anything, right? Stretching it, centering it, keeping it correctly, that you can define by using this. So you can put a background image for table. Not only table, you can apply this any level. You can apply this at any level. That means I can remove, I can keep in only header. That means it will be only for header section. But that image is not enough for that header section. We better take a smaller one. Is there any smaller one, some logo or something? In my assets, I don't have any. Bullet is there. I will use bullet.png is there. And you can see that will be there. You make sure that you are using the image suitable for that group or suitable for that cell. You take a large image and try to keep it, it will not appear there, right? Until or unless you adjust the size for that. So it nothing special. Only the point is either you can put a background color or you can put a background image. Background image. That is background color and image. Next important. We have alignments. Alignments. So we have two options. Align. So this is horizontally left, center, right, or justified. And we have V align. V align. This is vertically top, center, and bottom. Vertically top, center, bottom. Vertical alignment and horizontal alignments. And so we have to just define. This can be defined for table. So align, and we can define as V align. You can apply at any level. You can use for table cell align, or we can give V align. We can give for table cells. We can give for We can give for table row. If you give for row, it will apply for all cells in the row. If you give for cell, it will apply only for that particular cell. If you give for table, it will apply for entire table. And vertical alignment you can see only with width and height. No need to explain what is width and height. Width, so it defines width for table and cell, and height, it defines height for table and cell or row. Cell or row. And very important is here, uneven height and width cannot happen actually. So uneven height and width for cells cannot happen. All cells will have the same height. And width, similarly, every column can have different width, but in that column all cells will have same width. Every column can have different width, but in a column all cells will have same width. It cannot be like first row width is more, second row width is less. It cannot happen like that. So you can see now, because when you adjust width and height, then only you can adjust the alignments. So then only you can see the difference there. Let's do one thing now here in the table. Now I want table center. Then we can just keep table align. Align is equal to center. The table keeps me center. So table is centered. Table is centered. Now this row content must be center. Entire row must be center. Then for that row we can give align. Align as a center. Entire row is center. Only this price must be right side aligned. Only that price only. Then we can give align. Align is equal to right. It will apply only for that cell. It is not like entire column you can apply right. It's not possible. You have to individually handle them. You cannot put all columns right at a time. So you cannot do that. For that you have to apply styles. Here you can apply only for every individual cell. So another price is there. So we have to give align as a right. Then it will give right alignment. So every cell or every row you can configure. Vertically also, you see the row vertical, we align. We align as top, and you can see vertically it will be top aligned. That means these contents will be top aligned vertically. Image is also aligned, but that image is having a lot of white space above. That is the reason it may look like it is not aligned top, but it is top because it is having a lot of white space above. And very important here, suppose now I adjusted the V align for any particular cell. Here we are giving, this is top, bottom. Bottom is keeping them bottom. And another option we can keep it as center. By default it is center on center. You can apply this only for any particular cell also. You are applying only for this cell. So we align as top. That means only that cell will be aligned to top. So you can keep alignments at any level, for table, for row, for group, for body, anywhere you can apply. That is alignment and vertical alignment. How you can keep the alignment. Height and width the same. Suppose I want to adjust the height and width here. Suppose I want to adjust the height. Remember, if you adjust the height of this cell 5600, it will affect entire row. It will affect entire row. It cannot be like one cell height large, another cell height is less in a row. In the row, it will be uniform. If you adjust the height of any cell, it will affect entire row. So better always give height for row only. Don't give for cell. So give for row. For example, for this, I am giving height height is 200 pixels, then you can see that it will apply height for that. The height is adjusted for that particular row. And very important, if I define this height, I am removing that height and it is again normal. I am giving the height for this 5600, then same, it will affect entire row. So every cell cannot have different height. That's not possible. So for that, generally we have to define better this height in row only. And width you have to define for cell. Width you have to define for cell. Always preferable to define width in the heading itself, because if you adjust the width, it will affect the entire column. It will affect the entire column. And in every group it is independent. In every group, for example, see now, suppose I am giving the width for name, width for that heading, I given 200 pixels. Now I given for name, it will adjust for all the columns. So always better give in the heading itself. Anywhere in between you give, no use. It will apply to entire column. So that means you say suppose 300 pixels for name, it will apply the width for it. It will affect everywhere. That means if you define, see now, I am removing this width here and I am trying that width in this earpods cell. In the earpods cell, I am giving the width is equal to some 300 pixels. Now you will see that it is affected same. So it's waste of time in giving anywhere else. So always give at the top. That's enough. It will apply for entire column. Every column can have different width, but in every column, every cell will have a same height and width. They cannot be uneven, right? That's how we have to configure the width, height, and alignments. Next important option, that is merging of rows and columns. Merging of rows and columns. Merging rows and columns. This is important. Now, merging of rows and columns, you can achieve that by using call span. So it can merge multiple call span. It can merge multiple. It can merge multiple columns into single cell. Merge into single cell. Multiple columns into single cell. Similarly, we have row span. It can merge multiple rows into single cell. Multiple rows into single cell. Right. Fine. So that is rows and columns, how you can configure and rows and columns. Let's see now how it is going to handle, how it is handled. Like now let's go into the table. Our table is not suitable, so we need to configure the table. So let's keep the table relative to that. I will clean up this. So, and here I am designing another table now. So we have a table and just I defined width some 400 or 600, fine. And border is equal to 1. And in the table we have T head, in the TRTH. Here we are defining name. Another TH, this is address. This is one row in table header. In the table header, I have another row. In that I am having, so first name and another, so last name and city and state, so and the postal code, something like this. This is the header. Now you see every row is having uneven columns. First row is having 2 columns, second row is having 5 columns. Like that we have arranged. Now you can see, now it looks like this. It looks like this. That means first row 2 columns are there and second row 5 columns are present. Our intention is very simple. So this name should be a heading for first name and last name. That means this name heading should merge 2 cells. That name should merge 2 cells. That means simple. Here we have to put call span. Call span how many? 2. 2. Then you can see that the name is merging 2 cells. That means that will be the heading for 2 cells. So remember, if you give more than how many cells you are having, it will not show anything. It will stop at max. Later, if you add one more column, then that will affect. Otherwise, it will stop at max, because these type of silly doubts are very common, right? So you will have doubt other than what we discussed, right? So that is the reason many people come with a genius doubt like, if I give 7, what will happen, right? Nothing will happen. It will stop at how many columns are there. It will stop there. And if you later add one more, then it will adjust. It will adjust. So you will give more than 5 or 7. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And address should merge how many columns? 3. Then we have to define the address, have to define call span. Call span how many? 3. Now you see it is having 3 columns merging. If I give call span as 5, so nothing will happen. Nothing will happen because there is nothing there. 5. If later one more column comes, then it will adjust. It will adjust. So as of now, it doesn't matter for it. It doesn't matter until it is end, right? Now the same thing I am adding for other here. Okay, this is table header, table body. In table body row, in every row we will have cells. So how many cells? I will just keep empty. You can put some content. 5 cells I am giving. So that means it is having 5 cells. Now to keep the cells blank, empty, then you use ampersand NBSP semicolon. That is the right way to keep the cells blank. Why? Because if you don't keep that blank, later in CSS we will have an option called empty. That empty option will take control and it will give some effects for empty content wherever it is. That's the reason better to give ampersand NBSP to tell that later we will put some data there, right? That means you need to keep this for every cell empty. That will be like empty. Okay. Now similarly, I can add some rows. You can put some data. I am not just keeping the data, just empty rows, and you see all these rows are there. Now we will go to the table footer here. So we will go into the table footer, T foot. In the table footer, we have a row. In that we have one cell. And in that cell, we have like copyright. So ampersand copy, some copyright like this, 2021. And you see now it looks like this. And I need to merge how many columns here? This one cell should merge how many columns? Call span as what? 5. Then it will merge 5. And of course, you know, it is not a heading. Then I will keep align as a center, then keeps it center. So I can add some effect, BG color as some gray. And you cannot change the font color. You cannot change the font color. Through CSS only you can do, or you have to do in this way, because this is a table cell. In the table cell, you are keeping this content, this content. Now it is actually a literal content. Literal content means it is not a part of table cell actually. It is just floating inside that cell. It is not part of table cell. So you cannot apply color for that separately. For that, you have to use CSS, your CSS, or you can do in this way. You have to put a font. In that font, you put that, and font color, you have to keep it some white. That means now it will apply for that. For every cell, you have to give like that. For every group, you have to give like that. So we don't prefer that. We use by using CSS on. So, but table cell color, text color cannot be affected with any attributes. We can't affect with any attributes in HTML. For that, you have to apply styles, or you have to use this font way, working with the font way. This is column span, and we have another row span, merging the rows. For that, again, table should be suitable. That we will see in our next session tomorrow, right? In tomorrow's session, we will finish tables with some real-time examples. We will take some website. We will see how they designed their table, and the same we will try to replicate here with the options. Then you will get an perfection on what you have seen now, right? Then tomorrow we will continue with that, right?